I've been talking about the PS4 Pro quite a lot recently. I spoke about it at length yesterday, and of course I just did a specs video. It should either be uploaded or uploading at the time of recording. But of course, one of the main focuses of Sony's conference yesterday was the games. And I want to give special attention to one in particular that I feel could potentially be a sort of marker, a signal for how console gaming is going to change in the future, thanks to both the PlayStation 4 Pro and, of course, Xbox Scorpio. Now, the game in question is none other than Rise of the Tomb Raider, as it has been revealed by Crystal Dynamics that the PS4 Pro version of this game will be offering 3 different options that will let you choose resolution and frame rate from a few set modes. Now, the Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year collection, the version coming to PS4 and PS4 Pro in October, will be giving you the choice if you want better graphics or a higher frame rate on the PS4 Pro. Now, as I said, there's 3 of them. The first is the 4K resolution mode, which targets 30 frames per second and of course 4K. Now, while it's unclear if it's native 4K or not, that is pretty damn doubtful, but again, it hasn't been confirmed, but I wouldn't personally bet on that. It's, again, doubtful. Next up, however, is Enriched Visuals mode, which caps the frame rate at 30 frames per second, but does pair it with 1080p. And secondly, there's High Frame Rate mode, which targets 60 FPS at the same 1080p resolution. However, Crystal Dynamics were keen to stress that High Frame Rate mode might not always reach the target 60 FPS, but the frame rate should be north of 45 frames per second. Now, the reason I want to draw special attention to this should be obvious, because this option is fantastic. I have been calling for this on console for a long time. I feel like more choice to the consumer is only a good thing, and with these consoles with more power, what reason is there not to give players a choice of, like, look, do you want better graphics at 4K, do you want more frame rate at 1080p, or do you want something in the middle? There's no real reason for developers not to give players those options. I mean, one of the main criticisms of consoles, of course, is that some of the games have been limited to 30 frames per second, and sometimes that is detrimental to the game experience. For example, a fantastic PS4 exclusive, none other than Bloodborne, is a great game, but it is very much hampered by the frame rates that it's at. I've always said that game would be amazing on PC simply because of that improved frame rate. A game like that, frame rate is really, really, really important. And if FromSoft were to say, patch it to make it use this PS4 Pro capability and actually have the option to have a 60 FPS mode, for example, I would be all over that. That would be fantastic, and there's so many other games that would be improved by that simple option of how do you want to play this game. And I think many people would make the choice of, like, look, I'm not that bothered about graphics, I want more frames, or no, I want the shiniest experience possible, I'm not too bothered about it being capped at 30. It's all about that player choice, and now that we actually have a bit of power to play around with, there is the potential there for you to get a bit more of a custom experience and having these 3 set modes, or you could have 4K, 1080p 60, or 1080p 30, and maybe like 900p 60 or something like that, depending on the game. And I think, obviously it's down to the person, but that's the beauty of the choice, and I feel like numerous people would jump at the chance to get more frames for certain games that would really, really benefit from it. And of course, this could also apply to the Xbox One Scorpio. If games had those sort of options on that console, we could see console gaming go in a really interesting direction, and one that I would wholeheartedly support. So, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this topic, and I'll see you next time.